Twinklebot Tales.
The Flying Trunk. Once upon a time, there was a merchant's son who spent all his wealth. Finally, he had nothing left but an old trunk, a dressing gown, and slippers. This was a magical trunk. As soon as the lock was pressed, it would fly. He sat inside, and the trunk suddenly soared right up through the chimney. The trunk flew very high, and he traveled happily among the fluffy clouds. He flew all the way east until he reached the exotic land of Turkey. He hid the trunk in the forest, covering it with dry leaves. While walking in the city, he saw a palace with very high windows. People told him that the beautiful princess lived in the topmost tower. At midnight, he flew the trunk quietly toward the princess's balcony. The princess was sleeping soundly, looking as beautiful as a fairy. The princess woke up startled. She had never seen such a strange visitor. He claimed to be a Turkish god who had flown through the sky to see her. He told her a story about singing birds and deep, dark forests. The princess was enchanted. She thought this god was very gentle and humorous. "I will marry you," said the princess, "but first you must meet my parents." She told him that the king and queen loved hearing wonderful stories most of all. The merchant's son went back to the forest, racking his brain for a new story. On Saturday, the entire court gathered together to await his arrival. He flew in through the window in his trunk, and everyone cheered in amazement. He began his story. This time the main characters were a bundle of proud matches. The matches bragged about their origins, feeling more important than anyone in the kitchen. The king and queen were doubled over with laughter at the strange and funny tale. "Magnificent," the king declared. "You shall marry my daughter next Monday." On the eve of the wedding, the whole city was decorated with lights and filled with crowds. The merchant's son thought, "I should do something spectacular to celebrate too." He bought a huge amount of fireworks and firecrackers, stuffing them all into the trunk. He sat in the trunk filled with fireworks and flew up into the dark sky once more. Boom! Snap! Countless golden stars exploded across the night sky. The people of Turkey had never seen such a magnificent show and knelt to pray. After the show, he flew back to the forest and hid the trunk, feeling very satisfied. But he didn't notice that a single spark had fallen into a crack in the trunk. When he turned his head, the magical flying trunk was already engulfed in flames. He tried desperately to put it out, but it was too late. The trunk turned to ashes. Now he had no way to fly back to that towering palace. The next day, the princess put on her wedding dress and stood on the roof, watching the clouds. She waited for a very long time, but her bridegroom never appeared again. The merchant's son could only wander across the land on his own 2 feet. He began to tell children stories about the flying trunk and the princess. Though he lost the flying trunk, he became the world's greatest storyteller.
Tap that button and stay tuned for more adventures. See you soon.